Hello everyone, and welcome on a new episode in today's analysis. This time we are going to analyze Dr. Manhattan, the main protagonist of Watchmen. This episode is a special episode to me because Dr. Manhattan is my favorite cinematic hero. The amount of power, intellect, and somewhat realism and even symbolism behind his character is both genius and somewhat terrifying. Maybe I am bold with my statements. It's my personal belief that he is without a doubt one of the most powerful beings ever created in cinematic history. Coupled with the fact that Dr. Manhattan is the kind of character that literally struggles between apathy and empathy. In this video, I'm going to analyze all the information given about him from both the 1986 novel Watchmen as well as the 2009 film version of the book. And I want to apologize for the fact that I don't have any information on the 2019 miniseries, as I couldn't find anything about it. Now, with no further introduction, let's begin. Jonathan Osterman was born on August 14, 1929, to Joseph and Ing Osterman in the Weimar Republic, better known as Germany. Everything went good for him, but until Hitler and the Nazis took power in 1933, resulting in him and his father migrating to the United States. Tragically, his mother couldn't do so, as she was killed by the Nazis while trying to escape due to their Jewish heritage. Nevertheless, in the US, his father became a watchmaker, a watch fixer, and tried to pursue John into following a similar career, yet he abandoned the job after Einstein discovered that time is relative. Nevertheless, John continued to have a career in physics and become a scientist, working for the US government about a special project in which involves in removing the field around objects. Eventually, by 1959, he met another scientist like him named Gene Slater, with which he fell in love with. Yet everything changed for him on his 30 years anniversary, when he forgot his watch in one of the chambers of the governmental project he worked on, getting stuck in and having his own interesting field removed all around him. Yet he was able to do one thing that nobody could have done. He reassembled himself back, and thus for the next months he will appear like a nervous system, partially formed skeleton appearing in the hallways. Many people came to believe that the station is haunted, yet he managed to reassemble himself back and came back as some sort of a naked blue nuclear god, thus shocking the entire world. From there on, he will continue to work for the US government, becoming some sort of an agent, and eventually a member of the Watchmen, a group of superheroes dedicated to protect the United States. He will gain the name of Dr. Manhattan after the project that he was basically created from, and he will help the US in the Cold War against the USSR, and still continue his relationship with Jenny until they broke up in 1970. Manhattan was present on the moon landing in 1969, photographing the astronauts from the moon, and fought in the Vietnam War, resulting in the US winning the war in this timeline and annexing the whole Vietnam. And because of his actions, Richard Nixon was able to extend his power, managing to extend his term as President of the United States. He will also start a relationship with Laurie Jupiter, the daughter of the Steel Spectre, in which they will stay together for the next 15 years. Nevertheless, by 1979, all the male superheroes were banned in the society because of the Keene Act. Yet he continued to use his powers for the good of mankind, collaborating with Adrian Veidt into resolving the energy crisis. Yet unfortunately, his future vision was blocked by some kind of interference, thus resulting in John believing that a nuclear war between USA and USSR was unfortunately inevitable, as well as his relationship with Laurie growing more distant, and resulting in them breaking up, and Laurie starting a new relationship with Dan, the former Night Owl. Nevertheless, John continued to work for the US government and continued to help the humanity as much as he could, but his reality was torn down when the revelation of his former associates, including his ex-girlfriend Janie, suffering from cancer, and he being accused of being the source of this, resulting in him losing his temper on live TV and teleporting himself to Mars. At this point we can ask ourselves, is Dr. Manhattan good or evil? Now it's no surprise that Manhattan suffered from some sort of an apathy throughout the film, as coupled with the fact that he became nothing short of a god, of a naked nuclear god, and can't relate to people anymore, thus resulting in him gaining an immense distance between himself and the whole humanity. Not to mention that John might have developed some sort of nihilism, the belief in all life is meant to an end. However, John is nowhere an homicidal maniac, as he never sought to destroy the humanity or even to rule it. No, everything he wanted is simply just to get out of humanity, as he grew tired of Earth, tired to his people, and tired to feel entangled into their lives. As Manhattan never had any bad intentions towards humanity, but simply to help them, and after he saw that helping them became seemingly impossible at this point. Not to mention that at the beginning of the film, John might have seemed somewhere between good and evil, but at the end of it, I could technically tell you that he's good. So in the end, the answer to the question, is Dr. Manhattan good or evil? I will say definitely good, as Laurie managed to change his perception of her life, letting him to return back on Earth, only to see the planet ravaged by numerous attacks. In the comics, Adrian Veidt engineered false alien invasions in order to unite the world in peace, while in the film, it's revealed that Adrian set Dr. Manhattan up and making the world to believe that he attacked them, as he engineered attacks in New York, Moscow, Hong Kong, and LA, killing at least 15 million people in the process in order to unite the world in peace and stop the Cold War, as well as to prevent World War III. In a way, Ozymandias kind of succeeded, as Dr. Manhattan also realized that Andreas's actions actually led to a long-lasting peace upon the world. And when Rothschild refused to remain silent about this, and Dr. Manhattan had no choice but to kill him in order to keep the secret, resulting in him leaving before sharing one last passionate kiss with Laurie. So now, in the end, who is Dr. Manhattan? He's nothing more but just a simple person who desired to find a place in humanity, a person that will be somehow gifted with godlike powers, and a person that will use the said powers for the good of humanity. And although he suffered from numerous moments of apathy and even nihilism, Dr. Manhattan nevertheless managed to save the world and unite it into peace as well, making him without a doubt one of the most powerful characters to ever appear in cinema. Thank you all for tuning this new episode in today's analysis. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a nice day. Bye bye.
They claim their labors are to build a heaven, yet their heaven is populated with horrors. Always will be.